Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, I'm going to give you guys the best 15 brawlers to max out currently with this season. So I know it's been over 2 months since there's been any balance changes or anything big in terms of hypercharges and everything like that. So it's been a little bit frustrating. So a lot of these brawlers you might be familiar with, but at the same time, I haven't done a max out video in like 2 months as well. So thought to update you guys, and of course this is anticipation of an update potentially coming in a couple of weeks time. You know, Brawl Talk probably will be in 2 weeks time, so there's some stuff around the corner, some brawlers you want to kind of like upgrade to prepare for that. So let's jump into the first one. So that's going to be Penny. So Penny, I still think even if they nerf Penny, which I think they probably won't, although she's being played a lot right now in competitive, one of the most played brawlers, and just overall super versatile, I don't imagine them really nerfing Penny, to be honest. Or if they're going to nerf Penny, it's only going to be like a little bit. The hype charge with her is very good, but at the same time it doesn't make her like the brawler that she is. She's just good anyways. Like the turret, you can cycle it so quickly. The hype charge turret can be very annoying if you put it in a safe place. There's just so much to like about Penny. She can defend herself with the gadget, salty barrel, and again, you play Penny literally everywhere. So even with a potential nerf, she's still going to be at least 8. So moving on to the next brawler you must absolutely max out this season, it has to be Janet. So Janet might be a big surprise to you guys, but I think with the hyper charge, she's just getting better and better in the meta. So I anticipated her being like an 8-tier brawler when the hyper charge came out, but she's secretly creeping towards the S-tier. Main reason being because she cycles hyper charges with 2 supers, which is insane. And if you know how to use the hyper charge super properly, you can confirm kills so easily and then have another super after that. Of course, she's got really good range, and the thing about Janet, when she's meta, she's very toxic because it feels like hardly any brawler can do anything into her. Like, I know she's pretty low in DPS, but still she's eventually going to get a super and fly away from those assassins. Those mid-range brawlers as well, she always seems to counter. So again, I end up banning her out so often in draft, especially on the grassy map, because I just hate facing her, especially with the hypercharge. So I think she's a must max out right now, and I don't think she's actually that toxic, so I don't think she'll receive a nerf either. The next brawler you must absolutely max out this season has to be Darryl. So another brawler I'm anticipating that will still be meta, even if there's a bunch of balance changes to kind of shift things up. And again, like, he's always going to be good because I don't think he's going to be nerfed. You know, he's not toxic either, and he's always going to be the 8-tier. I love Darryl because he's one of those assassins that can counter his counters with his double roll, double knockback as well. Really, really good. And on top of that, you know, the hypercharge is not best, but at the same time, it still offers him that extra bit of shield and just that extra bit of playability. Of course, he's really good in heist, really good as a late pick in knockout in ranked. If you play a lot of ranked, he's good in Brawl, he's good in gem grab. He's just good into most lanes once you get that double roll. So I think Darryl will forever be meta as long as they keep that double roll super mechanic. This brawler must max out for this season is Frank. So just like Darryl and a few other on this list, he's not like absolutely S-tier broken, because again, some of those brawlers might receive a nerf. But you know, I put Frank in the S-tier personally because I think he's such an underrated brawler still in the meta. You know, if you've got a couple or even one low DPS brawler, well, Frank just literally with his HP is just going to run all over you. And then if you think you're about to kill him, well, he can just wind his attack so quickly. He's got a gadget which deals a lot of damage, and again, if he's low in HP, you can pop that gadget, pull him towards you, and then spam your attack a couple more times, and they're just deleted in an instant. Of course, his hype charge charges so quickly as well with the tank trait on top of that. There's just so much to like about Frank. Again, a brawler that I don't really anticipate getting a nerf. He might get a small nerf, but I think even with all the nerfs that Frank's received in the past, he's still been meta. Then the only nerf that could really kill him if they really touch his hypercharge rate. So outside of that, I just think he's such a good brawler to use, and I think he'll forever be meta. Moving on to the next brawler you must absolutely max out for this season, it is Griff. So I hate to say it, I probably was a little bit wrong with Griff. Weirdly enough, he's just became meta. I think it's one of 2 things. One thing, of course, he got a buff with his super damage, but I don't think that really catapulted. I mean, it made his super more valuable, right? But I just think it's the meta around him. You know, the meta's quite balanced, really, outside of like maybe Stu, Juju, and Lou. So it's allowed Griff to just thrive a little bit better. And of course, he's got a really good spot because he's one of these brawlers that's, of course, an anti-tank, and he can break open the map with a touch of a button. That gadget is just so good. It counters throwers, it can counter tanks so hard. His business resilience star power is so good at survivability, especially in like hot zone, for example. So you've just seen the pros play Griff so much, and they've really valued on him. And of course, he's without a hyper charge, so just imagine if Griff is one of the brawlers that get a hyper charge with the next batch, because there's going to be a ton of hyper charges next update. So I just think it's a worthwhile brawler to invest in. The next brawler must absolutely max out for this season, if you haven't already, weirdly enough, is Lou. So a few people still will underrate him, but he's just easily been an S-tier brawler ever since that buff. So if you're unsure what the buff was a couple of months ago, it seems like such a long time ago now, but he received a reload speed decrease, so effectively being like a 15% buff to his reload speed, which just really helped Lou, because of course his attacks are pretty hard to hit. So if you just have more ammo, of course you're gonna have more chance to hit people. It just makes common sense, right? So it just allows him to increase his DPS, increase just everything about his damage, etc. His supercharge rate, his hypercharge rate, and of course Lou's super is really toxic. Pair that with a gadget that half freezes people, pair that with hyperthermia star power, which is just so broken, and then a hypercharge on top of that. One of the best hypercharges in the game, guarantees a kill pretty much every single time. You're seeing Lou played everywhere, and I think Lou probably will receive a nerf. And even if they do, I don't think they'll nerf him that much, because he was actually really underwhelming before this buff. So I don't think they'll want to kill him off straight away, right? So I anticipate Lou still being meta, even with any balance changes. The next Brawler must max out for this season is Gray. So as the weeks go on, I'm just seeing the play rate of Gray go even higher and higher. Again, I'm still not thinking that people have found their full potential with Gray in terms of like what the star power can do with the healing with tanks, what the hypercharge can do, different like places to pop the hypercharge to get more value. For example, in hot zone, you know, there's either a strategy where you can either go straight to the hot zone from spawn, or you can just set up multiple teleports, so you can just keep going in and out, going around the map. It is a very good hypercharge as well. The shield is only 1,000, but it stays on for a long time. And of course, Gray, what I really like about him in Bounty and Knockout, he's a great counter to throwers with that gadget, and still a decent counter to snipers, as long as you've got good aim with Gray. Again, he's a more skillful brawler because his attack is pretty hard to hit. But once you start landing and cycling those supers, he's such a dangerous brawler, and I feel like he could be creeping to the top of the A tier, and I think it's basically impossible for him to get a nerf because he's still going under the radar. The next brawler must absolutely max out for this season has to be Juju, so I know she's definitely the brawler that's going to get nerfed in the next update, but I still think Juju's not a brawler that's like excelling in the stats behind the scenes, if you get what I mean. Like other broken brawlers or the best brawlers in the game in the past, you know, their win rate's been absurd, or like they're really toxic and everybody's complaining about them. Well, people are a little bit frustrated about Juju, but again, like the casual play base probably don't even know that Juju's the best brawler in the game, right? So I anticipate them nerfing her, but probably not by too much. Probably just going to be like a gadget nerf, or maybe like a Gree health nerf, so he gets destroyed a little bit easier. I mean, Gree's not even the best thing about Juju, to be honest. Like, it's a good thing about her, but it's to do with like all these different mechanics that she has, just makes her such a versatile brawler. So yeah, even with any nerfs, I still anticipate him being such a good brawler in the meta, and maybe she even gets the hypercharge in the next update. Maybe I'm deluded, but you get what I mean. She's still so good without a hypercharge, so it's worthwhile upgrading her. The next brawler must absolutely max out this season is Amber. So we've been talking about Amber for literally nearly a year now, because considering all of these brawlers around her receiving hypercharges, and she's still A tier in the meta, goes to show how good she is and how broken she's going to be when she gets a hypercharge. I don't know whether it's going to be the next update or the one after that, but it's going to be very, very soon. So she's still super consistent, does a lot of damage, and has decent range, and you can play Amber everywhere, in hot zone, gem grab, brawl ball, just outside of knockout and bounty. She's going to be your go-to brawler. Again, she's got a gadget that can defend herself against any aggro brawlers, and she's pretty easy to play for the most part. So, and you literally, again, in draft, you can pretty much always go her. There's hardly any like definitive counters out there, so I really enjoy Amber in this meta, and I just expect it to get even better as the metas develop. So moving on to the next brawler must absolutely max out this season, it has to be Draco. So I think Draco is one of those brawlers which are pretty niche, but at the same time, if you know how to play Draco effectively, you're just going to get so much value in this meta. So in particular, it has to be hot zone, where you're going to be playing him the most. He's probably like the best hot zone brawler, or one of the best hot zone. Outside of that, a little bit harder to make it work, but a good Draco play can really turn the tide. So the thing about Draco you got to know is just to time your gadgets correctly, get the most value out of your super. If you waste your super once, it's pretty much GG. It's so hard to get another one. But yeah, Draco's all about getting pressure, because the amount of damage reduction you get with a super, just pressuring your opponent's back. If you compare Draco with a Berry, Byron, Gray, Poco, etc., you just get so much value. In a bushy map as well, you're going to get a lot of value out of Draco. And again, he may be like B/A tier, but he might be getting hypercharge next season as well, so only anticipating him getting better in the meta. So a very underrated brawler to level up. The next brawler must absolutely max out this season has to be Kenji. So again, Kenji is a brawler that's gone under the radar, probably because there's a certain Buzz Lightyear in the game. Well, there was, which just literally was the better version of Kenji, with the BB swing, except being able to launch across the map. But Kenji has still, in my eyes, always been an A tier brawler, especially in ranked. Even with the reload speed nerf, he's still good. You just gotta maybe don't spam the auto aim button as much and just be a little bit more cautious of when to go in. But he's still really good. Of course, he's got a really good star power, really good gadget, a healing gadget as well. And of course, the healing trait, his supercharge rate is pretty effective. And if you land your super, you can just cycle like crazy. And Kenji's, again, I always just tend to go in ranked and just win because people underrate him. He's so good against those squishier brawlers, so good at getting pressure in like jam grab, brawl ball, hot zone, etc. Again, he has to go to hypercharge, so if you think about it, he's just going to get better in future updates. The next brawler he must absolutely max out this season has to be RT, so another brawler that hasn't got a hypercharge, but is still so solid in the meta, and I love these type of brawlers, because again, you just think of what they'll do when they get a hypercharge. I don't think the hypercharge of RT would be that fascinating, considering his super is very situational, but still, RT is the brawler I always rely on in ranked again. He's one of these brawlers that the casual player base just won't really see the value in him, but because he has so much HP, because he's got a gadget that can help him defend himself at any given time and just delete people instantly. And again, if you pair RT with any sharpshooter or a Gene or any poke brawler, he's going to be a really big threat. You can play him in knockout and bounty, he's like the best brawler there. You can play him in other situations as well, like, you know, he's pretty good in hot zone, for example. So I just think he's going to get it even better, and he's one of those brawlers which only the higher end players appreciate, but he'll always be, and he pretty much has always been, at the top of the meta since his release. So moving on to the next brawler he must max out for this season, it has to be Melody. So I'm kind of going back and forth on whether I think Melody is like a really strong brawler. Some people think she's close to the S tier. I think she's definitely A tier, and maybe people are finally realizing how to get the most value out of her hypercharge. Maybe because I suck with Melody, it's pretty hard for me to make the pop-off plays, but I just think the combination with the hypercharge is broken. The amount of shield that you can get, the amount of damage that you can get with the hypercharge as well, the speed stacking, is pretty insane. And I think she's, of course, really good in heist. People are underestimating her value in like bounty and knockout against those snipers, mainly bounty. You know, she can make really good plays in Brawl, of course, with 3 supers. And in hot zone as well, there's definitely a meta for her. So I think she's been undervalued right now. Of course, she's still a really good brawler in the meta. So finally, the last brawler he must be maxing out this season has to be Stu. So this has definitely been the meta for Stu. He's been a top brawler ever since they released that hypercharge of his. It's just insane. The best thing about it, in my opinion, has to be like the Gassy Hill star power on top of that hypercharge. Like, you can just go from like being one shot from death to then just spamming your hypercharge and being full HP again, and you can pretty much just track down any particular matchup you want. So of course, go for the squishier brawler and you get a free kill with that hypercharge every single time, and you can cycle through to like 2 or 3 game as well. So that's why he's just so effective in the meta. And again, in like pro draft, you can pick Stu into pretty much everything, even against like tanks that can normally like overrun him. Well, those tanks are going to feed his hypercharge, so he's going to be able to make a pop-off play. So I just think Stu is so insane. Again, he probably is going to receive a nerf because he's so strong, but Stu has always been like B or A tier in the meta, so you can always rely on him being good in the meta. That's going to be it for the video today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know who you think are the best 15 brawlers to max out right now. Also, let me know any video ideas for the next few weeks while we try and wait for this update. I know it's killing me at this point. I need some balance changes, please. But yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.